Can a person make a baby with a ghost? Stay tuned to be left with more questions than answers on Hello, my name is Ingrid and welcome to Creepo-Files. Here you'll hear the weirdest stories from the news, internet, and the big bad world. You're about to become more than just acquaintances with three tales of people who have gone all the way with a ghost. Maybe it's true what they say, dead men don't tell tales. But the women who do them do. Oh, they do them.
Amethyst realm.
When you take a vacation to sunny Australia, you'd probably bring home a souvenir, maybe even a cute Aussie. Maybe this spunky fella is a little older than you. By a few thousand years. That's exactly what a woman from England smuggled through Heathrow in 2018. In what orifice did she smuggle her lover from down under? You're about to find out. But first, it's only right I paint the paranormal picture. You can't fast forward this to get to the meaty bits, like a video you stole from the curtained room at the video store. Well, I mean, you could. It's called foreplay, and not
fast forward. They both have 4 in them, don't they?
Well, ignore me and instead listen to me as I take you back to the meet Amethyst realm. No, that's not a level on Spyro the Dragon. That's her name. She's a spiritual guidance counselor from Western Supermare, birthplace of John Cleese and home to the Helicopter Museum. Amethyst first appeared on the British chat show This Morning on ITV in 2017. Here she admitted to the live audience that she had cheated on her fiancé with a ghost in her house. Needless to say, her beau did not appreciate getting cucked while she was getting rhymes with cucked. He moved out and Amethyst was free to shag all over the pad. Since the split with her mortal man, she has done the deed only with ghosts, by now having racked up at least 20 different post-mortem partners. Post-coital. She stated with certainty, "I'll never go back to men." Not content to haunt her horny way across the UK, Amethyst travelled to Australia, where her life and someone else's death was changed forever. While walking in the bush, Amethyst felt a presence. It was a ghost man, ancient, and yet somehow in this crazy, mixed-up, muddled, past its expiry date world, these two fell in love. Summer lovin' can have you a blast, but summer lovin' happens so fast. And Amethyst had to leave Australia. Sitting on the plane, she felt sad, but then she felt something else. With her hand, with her mouth, or with her mind. The ghost was on the plane with her. He had broken several international security laws to be with her, so you know he was for real. Ghost Ray had been known to travel, so I guess he already had a passport. So what did Amethyst do? She took that apparition, led him into the bathroom, and together they joined the Mile High Club. Is it really like that if it doesn't have a that? Is it it's just that. And because we all love a happy ending, especially male ghosts, the two decided to marry in a hand-fasting ceremony. Amethyst told the hosts of This Morning that she was hoping to have a child with her dead fella, as she believes phantom pregnancy is when you get preggers to a ghost and you carry a phantom baby. No muss, no fuss. Amethyst has appeared on This Morning with updates of her paranormal romance many times. I'm beginning to think this show is her only source of income. Sadly, though, as with all great necromancers, there was trouble in paradise. This paradise was Thailand, where Amethyst and Ray were on holiday. And Ray had changed, man. "I think maybe he fell in with a bad crowd while we were on holiday," she said. "One night in Bangkok and the world's your oyster." And Ray wasn't just hanging out with dropkick ghosts. He was getting into drugs. Try not to lose my monetization here. Although this is my first long video and I won't get monetized for ages, click subscribe now. Did she change the locks? Cut up his knickerbockers? No, worse. She filled her house with black tourmaline. Which is a great time to tell you about black tourmaline juice. 3 exciting flavors. Ugh, ew. And what is that? You'll find protection from bad people, alive or dead, externally or internally, wherever you go. Traditional tourmaline is solid, stationary, and as black and glinting as your ex's eyes the last time you ever spoke. Tourmaline juice, however, is inside you, giving you protection and moderate mineral toxicity on the go. Protect yourself from yourself with black tourmaline juice, TM. And while Ray was feeling Amethyst's emotional distance, he had to socially distance too, because ghosts, as it turns out, can catch COVID. Who knew? That's got to be bad luck. Dead, no immune system, and still able to get sick. Ghost connoisseur Amethyst has gotten quite a name for herself, not only in the ghost world, but in the living one too. The Claypool and Delirium, a psychedelic rock band fronted by Les Claypool of Primus and Beatles baby Sean Lennon, released a song about Amethyst and her paranormal paramour tryst, written from the point of view of her original living fiancé. It's a banger. But this makes me wonder, has Amethyst slept with any dead celebs? Our hottest rock stars are on the other side of the soil, after all. I mean, why shtup a ghostly nobody when you could rub a 27 club chub? Now Amethyst is single, 34, and not getting any further away from the grave herself. She doesn't want to be stuck choosing from a dwindling pool of deadbeat dads and dead chads. She better lock down a new boo. Is there Tinder for ghosts? Ouija board says no. Good luck, Amethyst. And maybe next time, instead of putting out for every Tom, Dick, and very scary, you'll wait until the 4th date to drop your defenses and dax and let someone hum through your spirit box. It's about self-respect, after all. Joining Amethyst in Confessions of a Spirit Diddler on the highbrow journalism drip tray this morning, Brocard shared fresh insight into getting tangled up in bed sheets with eye holes. Amethyst, Brocard, it's almost as if these women enjoy making things up. Unlike Ms. Realm's hallmark romance with possibly a missing link in the human chain of evolution, Brocard's introduction to spooky hanky-panky wasn't so dreamy. In fact, it sounds more like a nightmare. Like an actual nightmare she had while asleep, imagining things in REM state. There she was, lying in darkness. She felt her heart racing, her breaths turned ragged. And then came a burning sensation. Look, there's really no excuse for the dead or the living not to get tested between lovers. You want to feel yearning, not burning. You can't just assume that because your dingle looks fine under night vision or you've been dead 230 years that you can't spread an STD, a spiritually transmitted demon. But let's get back to this intensely likely story. After Brocard, whose real name is Elena Salter, survived what can only be described as a scene from The Sexorcist, she felt loving vibes over the next few weeks. Yeah, man. Love is love. She became convinced a ghost named Eduardo was telling her that he loved her and thwarting any attempt she made to find love with the living. So basically this guy smiled at her once or twice and she's convinced they're going steady. Typical. And if that's the case, I'm in a monogamous relationship with a lot of men and women and sports mascots. Brocard, goth Lolita of such tracks as My Heart Will Go On Even Though Yours Has Stopped and How Can We Be Lovers If You Don't Have Hands, says that her steady Eddie was 35 when he fell down a well. How was he feeling after his fall? Not well. You fell for that. Right into the well. That boo-boo turned him into a Victorian ghost. Classic. You can search Brocard's music on streaming right after the final gasp of this video, and tell me what you think of it in the comments below. Would you rate it as music to make love to your Victorian ghost to? Now, I bet you're wondering, how do you carry on a clandestine affair with someone who can't be seen with a naked eye? Well, you keep it from your friends and family, which is exactly what Brocard did and then went on national television about it. And while she doesn't have to worry about what he's doing when he says he's working late at the ghost office, she does fear little things like him killing her to join him in death, like that great hymn song. Brocard said this year, "I'm looking forward to being the wife of a ghost." Though not everyone supports this Romeo and Juliet union. The 38-year-old says she has received over 10,000 messages from living men, demanding she dump her war hero hubby-to-be and instead pick up their socks and stare at their ceiling while she thinks of England. Salter recently dearly departed London to live in the countryside because her scream therapy was upsetting the neighbours. Or was that just Eduardo getting up her petticoats? Who knows, maybe this gruesome twosome won't get hitched in the end. Brocard apparently wants a summer wedding while Eduardo can't stand the heat. Guests invited to the wedding include Marilyn Monroe, Elvis Presley, and William Shakespeare. You know, just the B-listers. But maybe the biggest barrier to tying the new Siamese knot is that the best man has been trapped in hell since 1875. Worst luck, don't you hate it when that happens? Alright, enough of this horse pucky. It's time for a break. Today's rehydration opportunity is Jurassic World. Haven't seen it. That was a good way to de-stress after all the pent-up tension of the last two tales, wasn't it? I also recommend doing some breathing exercises.
Like heavy breaths down a psychic hotline.
Any form of exercise is good, really. Walking, running while screaming, but not yoga. Because everyone knows yoga is just Kama Sutra with ghosts. But now, let me ask you, are you ready for the third and final tale of a woman getting nasty with some ectoplasty?
Marie Melch.
This next account of feverish ghost lovin' comes on us, to us. Just my mouth tonight, out of control. Care of the most erudite media program of all time.
The Oprah Winfrey Show.
The year is 1988. Oprah's hair is big enough to house a nest of upwardly mobile spiders, and across from her sits a right slapper, Marie Melch, all hussied up in her knitted sweater and silver perm-set hair, just shameless. Marie sits there and proceeds to tell all of America the details of her lascivious, immoral, and frankly acrobatic lovemaking with a dead man. It was a hot summer day, and the tart, Marie, was smoking a cigarette. Phallic much, Marie? The smoke wound its way up towards the window fan and turned black. All over the monochrome carpet, she saw writing. The words said terrible things. These elderly people and their analog sexting. I guess when the veil between the world of the living and the world of the dead is at its thinnest, you can feel everything. Veil ultra thin. Despite her medication tamping her libido down to nary a whisper, Marie woke one night smack bang in the middle of what she called a very intensive sexual experience. I saw nothing. There was nothing I could put my hand on. That's what she said. She really did. There's video of all the women from these stories. Oprah, through puckered, coral-coloured lips, asked, "How long? Are we talking minutes or millimetres?" It had been so many years since Stedman had touched her. Marie smiled back. "You know, you don't watch the clock while this is happening." Marie's kids, likely jealous thornbacks, moved their mother away from the house, and Marie never again experienced a sheet-gripping phantasm. She passed away in 2012, and I like to think she's out there somewhere right now in Indiana, watching over her loved ones and having schmecks with their husbands. You know, all these tales of supernatural romance really show you that you don't have to leave your house to meet someone special. You could just be sitting around. What the was. What the Hey, buddy, you're too decayed to be getting fresh. Spectrophilia. In researching this episode, I learned of a show called Ghostly Lovers for the Travel Channel. You might want to check that out if hearing people talk about making mayonnaise sounds with Casper the Too Friendly Ghost is your thing. I also discovered that predating Brocard and Amethyst on This Haunting was Ukrainian actress Natasha Blasik, who also claims she woke to her very own Patrick Swayze doing some dirty dancing on her. Oh, and Kesha reckons she went to the bone zone with a ghost. And Nicole Smith, while still alive, told FHM she banged a bro from the other side. And Lucy Liu woke climaxing from GHOSTSEX. Maybe that's how they stay looking so young in Hollywood. A regular Botox injection. If you're listening to the podcast, you can also catch the show on YouTube, where you can see these women who engage in pantsless seances for yourself, and also find out if that was the sound of a mayonnaise jar or Kyle's dead grandmother from South Park. You may be wondering by this point how a person comes to believe they've had them some spooktual intercourse. Wikipedia defines spectrophilia as an attraction to ghosts or arousal from images in mirrors, which sounds more like a budgerigar. You ever seen a budgie humping its mirror, keeping eye contact locked on you the entire time, feverish little black beads penetrating you in the glass? Horrifying. Don't go to parties where there are birds. It also, of course, defines spectrophilia as sensual encounters between ghosts and humans. Of the fetish plethora, it's classified as a paraphilia, which is exactly what this sounds like. Paraphilia up. Is that butt or is that boob? Nobody ever does that, do they? They don't like honk. The sides would be wrong, wouldn't they? They'd be like, what would that be, like back fat or something? You'd have to be like a human to post-human encounters have been explained away as sleep paralysis. It's theorized that these lucid dreams turn kinky due to repressed sexy frustration and anxiety. Why squeeze a stress ball when you can squeeze stress balls? Yeah, there we go. Oh yeah. Okay, moobs and the more faithful blame succubi and incubi, but I tend to think flesh and blood humans are worse than any hot demon who, on close inspection, is less Jake Gyllenhaal and more, why does that dude have a bird claw? Right where his junk should be. A bird claw. What is this? The crows have eyes for the tanning? Can he at least get his nails trimmed? That can't be latex safe. I couldn't find many examples of real men getting saucy with spectres, which makes me think, after seeing the scene where Dan Aykroyd has his belt unbuckled by a banshee, that maybe Ghostbusters isn't a true story at all. Childhood ruined! Dan Aykroyd did tell Esquire magazine that he cuddled with a ghost that crawled into his bed, which was either a guy or Mama Cass from the Mamas and the Papas. Look, let's speak frankly here. I know it sounds like I'm making this stuff up, but you can check my sources. And by sources, I don't mean mayonnaise. You're disgusting. Personally, I've never done the horizontal mambo or the vertical wap dance with anyone who identifies as deceased. Wait, do dead roots count? I don't understand the allure of ghosts. I've had them as housemates. They don't pay rent, they're always leaving the lights on, and they stay up all night banging everything in the house except you. If you're a Jake Gyllenhaal lookalike incubus with a claw for fun, you can reach me via my Ouija board. Do you think Ouija boards have a block function? It's just the living I'm haunted by these days. I guess you could do a ring of salt, but then you'd kill all the snails and you'd be just as bad as Crispin Glover. bad, Crispin. I invite the rest of you breathers to go ahead and leave a comment under this video or on socials if you're listening to the podcast. Tell me about the time you met a panty-dropping poltergeist or got sticky tickled by the ghost of Liberace. Good things come in threes, like Kesha, Anna Nicole Smith, and Lucy Liu did. Wink, wink, wink. So scribe a like button, spirit fingers subscribe. Don't ghost that notification bell. You'll be first to know when more moderately traumatizing tales of the creepy, kooky, and criminal are released by me. If you're good, maybe one day I'll tell you about the housemate I once had who believed he had gotten frequent night diddles by a dead dude. And that's why he always slept in the lounge. He was 60. I found things in a drawer. Still one of the more sane housemates I've had. Thanks for joining me on my maiden voyage, babes, and I will see you in the mirror, behind the budgerigar while it makes excited love to your shared reflection. Oh, why did they do that? Case closed on the Creepo-Files. Hey, Ingrid. Yeah? Do you have any ghost in you? No, I don't. Why would you ask? Would you like some? What is this? Annabelle XXX? Ugh. Oh no. Ugh. Baby. Let it go, let it go, and the lover's gone away. That was not meant to happen. Show's over, folks.